You are watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the first Monday of each month. The board advises the City Council and city staff on issues that affect the city's parks and recreational programs. And now, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the May 6th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Looks like we've got a fairly short agenda this evening. We've got a couple of additions here that we'll squeeze in. But we'll go ahead and start off with approval of the meeting minutes from last April, I believe, April 1st meeting. Any changes, additions, anything that needs to be updated on there for Melanie?
I guess the only question I had was about the special Parks Board meeting that we had, how that all plays into the April meeting, or is that separate, or is?
That is a special Parks Board meeting, and we haven't videoed. I haven't got the video yet. I mean, it is supposed to be up on a city net. I haven't went to see if it's up yet.
Would we have to document that like a normal meeting, the way that we do normally with the meeting minutes, or is it sufficient to have video?
It's sufficient to have video. Many times on special meetings, because they're so long, it's impossible to transcribe.
To go through and transcribe, yeah.
Yeah, and I always hate to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
So we do have it on granted. We do have video, and I can send that to you. Would you like that sent to you?
No, I don't honestly. I just looked for it online and didn't see it online either as of yet.
Okay. Our Granicus was down. Is it still down? You know?
I don't think so, but I can't be for certain.
I will check and see.
Okay. Any changes? Anything? I'll accept a motion.
Motion.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the meeting minutes as they have been written. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay, those are approved. Next up, we have a public art proposal from Hank Kaminsky. I see Hank out in the audience. Come on up.
Thank you. I don't have a formal proposal except ask, does everyone have this application? And also forgive me, I'm just getting over a bout of pneumonia and I haven't got my voice back yet completely. This project is one that has been developing in my studio for a good long time, 4 years. These sculptures that you see in the application are slabs of stone, or they are to appear to be slabs of stone that we found in the woods somewhere. Something special, obviously, about this slab of stone. We took it and mounted it on a pyramid. You see details of the sculpture surface. The sculpture stands 7 feet tall, including the pedestal. It will be cast in concrete, and the concrete is tinted. I think many of you have seen some of my pieces from this project, Sacred Ground project. They all use the words, "You are standing on sacred ground." This one in about 25 different languages. And some of you know about my penchant for using language in sculpture. The sculpture will be funded in its entirety by a Kickstarter program. We are waiting for permissions from the Parks Department, from the Parks Board, from the Fayetteville Arts Council, and finally from the City Council. As soon as we get those permissions, we will get into high gear and produce a crowdfunding program called Kickstarter. Now there has been some questions. Do you all have any questions about what I've just laid out, or anything about the application?
No, I don't think so. You said Kickstarter program, is that where the public is invited to donate to pay for the project?
Precisely. It's an internet-based program. We offer, there will be a short, extraordinary video, at least the woman who's putting it together is extraordinary. I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great. And a couple of short statements. I'm hoping to drag something out of the mayor to put on the website to attest to how wonderful this project is. We will then proceed to fund it. There will be rewards. If you give us $100, we'll give you a little piece of sculpture that you can. If you give us $1,000, you'll get a bigger piece of sculpture that you can put in your garden. All of these sculptures and other rewards related to the mission of the sculpture, which is to give us something to stop and look at and think about in the course of everyday life on the trail. Now, the sculpture is, the first choice of site is a site at the foot of Wilson Street, is it? Wilson Street?
Yeah.
Just off the park, where the trail makes a big U and goes underneath the railroad.
We have the
track.
children's art, and if you're
The children's art is
headed
on the north end,
Uh-huh.
and I'm asking to locate this project on the south end of that. Is that the north end? The north end, yeah, the other way around. Now, some time ago, Santiago Perez, who is of the architecture department at the university, requested that this spot be useful for architecture students to get some experience with building real structures in real places. And he and I really hit it off, and I'd like to collaborate in some way with Santiago and his students to produce an interesting environment there at the site, which will or will not include my sculpture. As to whether or not this works out, it's a matter of effort. The students have been using the space occasionally for temporary works. And more than likely, they will apply their energies to making the space more suitable for that kind of thing. And my sculpture could sit there as a permanent part of the process. Anything to add, Santiago?
That summed it up pretty well.
Okay. If it should, I mean, architects are just like artists. They're just as flaky and have the possibility of getting into trouble. So if we do, and we can't agree with everything we need to know about that space, then I would like to simply have the blessing of the board, and we'll put it in someplace else which is suitable with the consultation of the board. So I think that pretty well lays out everything I had to say. Any further questions? Okay.
Thank you for thinking of the parks, and we'd love to have your stuff in there.
Thank you. That particular site, I mean, do I speak in spiritual terms or practical terms? That's a very high spot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It is the center of a lot of energy moving in. The trail whizzes around there. The people from the park come there. It's in a valley. The railroad goes right through it. I mean, it's the confluence of many forces. My sculpture is too. That's what I'm hoping for. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. Appreciate it. Okay, if we don't have any questions, I'd accept a motion.
I'm sorry, if the project changes significantly, their collaboration, does he have to go through the process again, or does he just collaborate with people?
If it changes significantly, we need to bring it back to y'all, because it needs to go then to the Arts Council. And when will you all know?
The Arts Council meets on Wednesday night,
Okay.
after tomorrow.
Okay. But if it does, we'll go back through the process.
Well, let me address that just briefly. The essential element of sculpture is not going to change. The only thing that might change is the environment, and I think that probably would require a further review of the board.
I'd like to make a motion to accept Hank's public art proposal.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Here's hoping we get it done.
All right.
Thank you, Hank. Appreciate it.
We do
Okay.
need to highly publicize that Kickstart program, though. I don't
Sounds
know
good
whether
to
we
me.
can add that to our website or anything like that, so that we can make sure
Once
that
you
everybody.
get it- Once we
Because I
get
think-
through the process, then.
Yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for a good portion of the population to join, whether it's $10, $15, $20, whatever it is. I think you'll find out that it'll be pretty easy to raise that amount of money,
I like that.
so.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you.
Next up, looks like we have an Eagle Scout project, and Mr. Jay Haas is here to talk to us.
Hello, I'm Jay
Welcome,
Hawes.
Jay.
It's nice to meet all y'all. We will turn your attention to the blueprint over here. This is a view of the bridge standing, I have no idea what the word is, but you're looking at it from the creek bed, you'd be staying in the creek. This would be the overview. That's just a cross section. The overall plan that we have right now, I've worked a little bit with Byron, a scoutmaster, RT Hewin, who's an architect, who drew the blueprint, so it's bad. Apparently flaky, it's on him. But it would entail materials, which are right there. Grab my stuff. It would be made up of 3 14-foot telephone poles. See here in the cross section of it, you wouldn't be able to see those from the outside. That's what gives it its sturdy support all the way across. That'd be 6 feet long. The deck would be made up of deck boards, 15 to be exact, 12 feet long, 4/4 by 6. It would have 2 12-foot pressure-treated pine, like bull rails kind of. Gonna be about that big, just going along the side, and underneath parts, Byron helped say that, spacers. So it's like, this is the rail, spacer here, about that big, spacer here. So it's sturdy, it can't be broken, the leaves won't get trapped in there in the fall and things like that. Keep it pretty clean. Then, after that, this weird stuff in the bank would be a box about, it'd be 6 feet long. Dimensions of that would be, not super sure, but 6 feet, I think 2 feet, maybe 1.5 deep. We don't want to cut it too low, just in case it flooded and would wash out that. It'll be like a crate filled with gravel. So you'll have gravel up, about to where the telephone pole would be. The poles would rest not only on the board but the gravel. So it would be on the kind of soft creek so it couldn't sink or go down. It could stay pretty stable. You would have the boxes at the corners secured by number 3 rebar, about 24-18 inches, right into the ground, so it's not visible from eye level, but it's under there. So you would have that to support it, so that those 2 boxes would be where it drew all of its anchoring, and the ground would be sturdy and wouldn't sink. Like the bridge up there right now is probably angled because it is a drop off. So we would also accommodate with that by slightly angling the box. But that wouldn't take away from the gravel or the rebar. And then the, kind of nervous, I'm off track. Oh, I would be doing this, that's probably good to say. I'll be doing that this weekend. That'd be cool with y'all. This weekend it'd be Saturday.
Okay.
I have loads delivering material to the site, so I would need a key for the gate, which I've gotten before. I'll just need to take one out. And then the material's been delivered. I have it worked on by the scouts. Little scouts, big scouts, mid scouts. The leaders who cut stuff while I'm there.
So, quick question, Byron, how many different projects do we have going now? Do we have 3?
Eagle Scout projects.
Right, at
We
Lake
have-
Fayetteville?
This is actually We have 3 at Lake Fayetteville.
Okay.
Jay, why don't you tell them where this project is and what the existing bridge looks like?
This is just if you're on the trail, if you're walking, you'll have,
At Lake Sequoia.
yeah, Lake Sequoia.
Okay, so this is at Lake Sequoia. Got it.
Yeah, I should probably said that. Yeah, Lake Sequoia. So you start off at the trailhead, which is across from the bait shop. You have those old cattle gates, which aren't there anymore, but you pass that, you go down the hill, you walk, you kind of go around. There's a slight tailwater, it's not really a big thing, it's more dried out. Good to count to the pasture, then you hit more tailwaters, and that's where this bridge would be. And what's there now is it's over seasonal creek, so it's not very important, but it's good for weird weather like this when it rains. The thing there now is a cedar tree cut in half, split open, and it has maybe 3 or 4 limbs just nailed to it. So it won't roll.
Here's the picture you took. Can we pass it around with the council members?
Yeah.
That's the existing bridge.
So the existing bridge is more of a half a
Looks
tree.
up to code. Yeah.
Tree cut up.
Yeah, looks good.
It's a good stable structure. And it's about maybe 3 feet. Yeah. So,
I won't be riding horses across that one.
4 years since I've been there, so.
what else should I be covering for y'all?
So Byron and I would, you guys are aligned to the plan and
We are, yeah. The existing bridge was built some years ago by Boy Scouts, just kind of as an afterthought for an area, and so this will be a significant improvement to that. We worked with him on the details as far as the plans and the materials. I think he's requesting gravel from us and access, and so.
Yeah, if y'all have, sorry to cut you off, I need 2 cubic yards. If y'all don't want them in that or can't, I can buy it from Lowe's, everything set up, just as like a side note.
we've got that covered.
We got that covered.
Okay.
I mean, but that's about all I need from y'all. I mean, I got maybe a couple guys that needed big old trucks. I can move all the stuff down there. Need a key, so I hate to kick guys' locks. Just add my cost, time.
That's not a badge.
You know,
Lock picking. I think Jay's gonna get this thing done.
So are you gonna get it done all this weekend then, do you think?
Yes, ma'am. It'll be, I think we're going out Saturday morning. I'll be going out Friday to help Lowe's deliver. I'll probably move some of that stuff down there by myself. I'll probably camp out to make sure no one steals the lumber, because it's very pricey. It's about $200 worth of lumber. And heaven forbid that goes. But, so yeah, estimated cost, I probably should have said that, even though it's all been paid for, very low. I got Lowe's to discount it and free delivery for an Eagle project. That's really all cost cuts I've had. I have people done the generator, so we can cut stuff on site, so it'll be right up to measurement. Because I was gonna try and pre-cut, but I was told I'm not the best at estimating cuts. Telephone poles I have by Mr. Brown, can't remember his first name, but he has, it's telephone poles. I don't really know how I got it.
Slipco.
No, there's in his field, he's had them for a couple of years.
Okay.
But like, not stolen, just laying. There's some bushes next to an industrial lot.
Okay.
But I'm getting that up Tuesday, so stolen or not, I'll have them. And I think that's all covered. I have people taking it out there. I have that, yep. I weeded for the gravel costs.
And maybe no rain.
Nah, it's okay.
Any questions?
That's all.
Doing all this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Could put him in charge of the flyover. I'd stop making a U-turn on College every time.
He hasn't done it in a weekend. Any questions, Phil?
No.
Anyone? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to accept staff's recommendation to approve the Eagle Scout project for Lake Sequoia for Jay Haas.
I'll second that.
Philip's going to second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. You're up, Jay. Now you got to get it done.
Yay!
All right, thanks for coming.
Full confidence in my abilities. Thank y'all.
Okay. Okay, I think we have an addition to the agenda this evening before we get on to other business. We have some folks from the rugby club to give us a report. Heath Stanley and Tucker Shaw. If you guys can come on up, we'll get you on video.
Absolutely. Tough act to follow there. I have been working with Chase Gibson for years now, but Chase had asked me the first of the year to come up to the board and just do an informative, kind of a quick 5-10 minute talk about our club. You know, what we do, who we are, what we, you know, our league, just kind of, you know, we've been around since 2007, but not a lot of people know about the rugby club. But we definitely appreciate Parks and Rec and all the support. And Chase has been great to work with, and scheduling and you know, everything that we try to do to practice. We put a lot of time and effort. We've got, you know, a good group of guys, alumni and followers for the rugby club. So I put together a little outline just to kind of go through and, you know, please ask questions, you know, about the club and just some details there. But, you know, really our vision, our mission is we're you know, a collection of ex-Razorback rugby players, people that move in, vendors, business executives, business owners, just you know, a good collaborative group of people that want to promote the sport of rugby in Northwest Arkansas and the regional area. Our region is pretty broad. We cover from, in our league, it's a national organization sanctioned by USA Rugby. It would be like Major League Baseball or NFL. A little smaller, but they're our national organization, which we're all members of. It really starts in the high school level. Tucker played high school rugby in Texas. That has not taken on yet in Arkansas, but in Texas, Oklahoma, they do have high school level rugby leagues. And so it goes from high school to college. After college, it goes into Division III rugby, which is where we are, so it's kind of like the minor leagues. So you have Division III, Division II, Division I, then the Super League, and then you have the national team, which would be the USA Eagles, that play on TV ever so often. So, but that is broken out nationally in divisions, and so we're a member of the Heart of America Rugby Football Union, which is a pretty broad region. It covers Wichita, Tulsa, Topeka, Salina, 4 teams in Kansas City, Columbia, Missouri, Springfield, and Arkansas. Fortunately, we get to travel the most. So we went to Kansas City 4 times this spring, and we traveled to Wichita, Topeka, and Kansas City twice in the fall. So our schedules are pretty tight, pretty active. Right now, our home field in Fayetteville is at Walker Park North, next to the skating park. You know, again, this is all informative, but I would like to come back. I've been working with Chase and talking about getting a permanent field for us to call home, because right now what we do is we transport our rugby posts from Lowell that are stored at one of our alumni's business, and we transport those posts down and set them up and take them down every time. And so we would love to have a home pitch, a home rugby field that would not interfere with soccer. I know that was one of the big things that Chase, you know, was adamant about, is that we want to make sure they can be a multi-use field and not just, you know, just for rugby. Fortunately, rugby fields are a lot bigger than soccer fields and football fields, so the posts would be wider than the actual goals would be for soccer there. And so, like right now, when we play at Walker Park, we move the soccer goals back up the hill towards the road, and then also back towards the woods where the trail comes through. Set our posts up and then move that back once we're done. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Where our status is effective the start of last year in 2012. They have backed up getting that, so unfortunately I just got our status about 3 months ago, but it's backdated 18 months. So we have 20 to 25 to 30 active players at any given time. You know, there are injuries in rugby, and so we have people that move off, and we add new players. We're always actively recruiting. We have a big alumni base. There's a lot, you know, Arkansas U of A rugby started in the 70s.
71?
Yeah, in 71. So there's a lot of old ruggers that are around still that are very supportive. They come out and help. They help us fundraise. You know, because we have such a big union, we do travel a lot. You know, we do fundraising events, and we had a booth set up for Spring Fest. I think it's now moved a little bit, and so so we do fundraise. Our seasons are very long. We play almost year round. It switches from 15s to 7s, so 15s rugby is 15 players per team on a field at one time. 7s rugby is 7 on 7. It's kind of like football in that respect. 7s is usually played in the summertime for our leagues. So we play 7s rugby. We actually start tomorrow, training for 7s, and we'll play that through August, and then 15 starts September through April. And so it's pretty strenuous league. It's a great group of people. We practice Tuesday, Thursdays. We do move around for practice schedules. Right now we're practicing at Kirksey Middle School in Rogers. Our players also come from a lot of areas. We have 4 or 5 guys from Joplin that travel down twice a week to practice and then to all the matches. We have a lot in Benton County, and we have Fayetteville and Springdale, Washington County. So we try to accommodate our players and practice in Benton County, or especially those come in 2 hours for travel. So we'll practice in Benton County some in the fall and the spring and in the summer. And then Thursdays we practice at Holt Middle School in Fayetteville. Now that does rotate quite often. I usually coordinate that with Chase or Alan now, I would say, because we use Walker Park. We use Gary Hampton Softball Complex in the winter time for the lights. So we do have a contract with the city to help, or with Parks and Rec to help obviously cover the cost for that. And then we also practice at the White River Complex in the winter time as well, depending on when the fall softball season ends. So we have referees that travel just as much. We're also required to have sanctioned referees through USA Rugby. They go through extensive training on the rules of the game, safety. That's a big part of USA Rugby. Every player is required to what we call SIP, or register with USA Rugby. That also gives them additional insurance coverage. It's basically football with no pads. So our events, we do a lot of fundraising, charity events. We worked with we actually have a project that we're looking at right now at helping the battered women's shelter. Some landscaping cleanup and some things that we're going to get together as a club and do. And then we help, and Tucker, you may want to elaborate on the Vista Health Center.
Yeah, I had
with the kids at Vista.
What I kind of want to make my point across is our whole mission and vision of the whole club is to just, he said it again, promote the sport of rugby in Arkansas and give them the opportunity that I had when I was younger. And so I played all through high school, played 4 years at the university, and then got recruited to play professionally for a year in England. So my whole reason for going over there was I wanted to go and play there, learn as much as I can, and bring it back here and see what we can do with it. So Heath and the other officers have been very, very helpful throughout this whole time. And right when I came back, I started getting in with Vista Health and TDC, the other school that they go to with Fayetteville. And I worked with a lot of kids that would come out and were really interested, and they did it as kind of just an outlet like a lot of the rugby players do. So it helped out a lot of kids that I'm still in contact, and they kind of look at us as mentors. And so even though it may not be a big difference, it's a big deal to us and it's a big deal to them. keep those guys active. Our one guy, Zach, he was here he practiced with us for about 7 months, and he lost a total of, I think, 35 to 40 pounds. I mean, he was a big boy, so he could lose it, and he definitely feels a lot more confident. And he just, we want to be able to just promote it youth-wise and be able to have it in the high schools, all the way to where it's a full round circle to where it's high school, college, and then comes to the men's club.
Yeah. We're also looking at working with the Boys and Girls Club, and trying to get involved in youth, promoting rugby, maybe supporting some programs, also helping out the Boys and Girls Club. All of our support comes from our members, our membership dues, our sponsors. We do have quite a few sponsors. Our private donations, our fundraisers, Spring Fest and Car Wash and some of the other things that we do on an annual basis. So and again, we appreciate Parks and Rec and the support you guys have given us and helping us out with scheduling fields and all that. One of the things that we would like to do, that I would like to come back with more of a formal proposal on, is looking at putting up permanent posts for us at Walker Park. We would love to have that as our kind of our home field. It's very centrally located for us. A lot of our teams that come in and travel, they've been to that park for the last 8 years, or 5 years, and it's convenient travel. We do host all of our teams for a weekend, so they come in, they stay in the hotels. We get together for social events after our match. So it's always a good thing for the city. Next year, I think I put a little note on there. Next year, we're actually hosting a team from Queensland, Australia, that is doing an 8-week rugby tour. They're going to fly from Queensland to New Jersey and play rugby for 8 weeks, and end in Vegas, and then go back from Vegas.
Wow.
So, yeah, so they've rented like
Vegas.
they've rented three buses, 3 buses to go from Jersey to Vegas, and they're going to play every Saturday for 8 weeks down through there. And so they contacted us through our website and asked if we would host them. So that would be a great thing. I think we've talked about trying to make a big event for that. Getting it on the news and having Mayor Jordan come out. I know he's a supporter of the rugby team as well. So, but any questions? I want to try to keep it informative. And like I say, I would love to come back to the board and talk further about a proposal for some posts.
Sure. Have we looked at any place storage that we may have available so they don't have to transport it all the way, or?
We haven't looked at that yet. How long are your fields from goal post to goal?
It's 120 yards by 70 yards. So it's 20 yards wider than a football field and 20 yards longer. So.
What are your
120 yards by 40 yards.
So it's the same length. That'd be the only challenge, and we can figure it out, but ultimate plays on those
Yes.
as well. So.
Yeah, I think last year, or in the fall, we had the ultimate was having a tournament and so we were working with them to try to get our game in afterwards or something. So, but yeah.
There is a big need for multi-purpose fields, and I think, hopefully with the regional park will get some.
And we do have a lot of equipment. Any storage would be absolutely phenomenal. We have big scrum sleds that we hit against, tackling pads, balls, cones, posts. I mean, it's a lot to drag around. It's a lot. My garage is half full right now. So, but yeah, we would any support.
You always practice out at Walker Park as well?
We don't practice out there as much because it is a multi-use field, and so we try to find the bigger spaces that basically it's kind of first come, first serve. So like Holt, behind Holt there, they've always been supportive for us to be back there and train. Fortunately, we don't need as big of a space to train with as we do for field. We usually have about 30 to 40 people out to train. So, and in the wintertime, it's usually never an issue because we're the only crazy people out there at 20 degrees. So,
And
yeah. Well, yeah, the ultimate guy. You guys were playing in the snow or the frost last fall, so.
Yeah, a little bit more cushion when you land.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other questions?
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
appreciate
the update.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thank you,
having
guys.
us.
Thank you.
And Connie, thanks for getting these on a consistent basis. I think it's good to see every meeting have a little something from each of the different clubs and user groups.
We'll continue that, maybe not for June, but.
Okay. Let's see, other business, do we have anything else that we need to add? Do we have any comment that we need to take from the audience?
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
My name's Steve Schneider, and I'm representing the Ozark Upward Cyclists today as the Vice President. As a lot of you know, we have a meeting with the Botanical Garden tomorrow to reach some common ground on some soft surface trail issues, which we're hoping to accomplish. But I do have a couple questions. There was a bridge right behind the Botanical Garden, a concrete bridge, and I was wondering where the funding came for to build that bridge. It's directly behind their little butterfly building, and it's on that big drainage there. There's a name for that drainage, and I can't remember right now. But does anybody here know where that funding came for to build that bridge?
It was Botanical Garden funds.
It was Botanical Garden funds?
Yes.
Okay.
It was.
Okay. Okay, good. I need to know that. My second question slash, I guess just statement, and maybe just to throw it out there is, we're really excited about working with the Botanical Garden to finish the soft surface trail system. We've done a lot of effort in the last couple of weeks as a group to GPS some new sections in that area that their compromise was given to us. We want to make it work. I think we're going to make it work. However, if we cannot reach an agreement on an area that we feel is the best sustainable area to build the reroute, and they want to continually push us out towards the lake and the wetland area, there's going to be a very expensive proposal. There's going to be a wetland and environmental study, which is going to cost about $8,000 or $10,000. There's going to be boardwalks and bridges, that's going to be another probably $100,000. And these are all off the top of my head. However, I've consulted with Progressive Trail Design and an environmental engineer to get those numbers. So if that happens, my hope is that the Botanical Garden will offer to pay for part of that, and is the city or the Parks Board willing to maybe pay for part of that also if they want to keep it in the wetland, which is part of the compromise. And I know that can't be answered today, but I want you all to at least think about that, because there's going to be the issue's going to happen, it's going to come up in the next few weeks. Because the studies that we've done as a volunteer organization, it's going to be very expensive to put that trail through that wetland area, not only for the trail itself, but even for the environmental study. You know, it's going to be $8,000 or $10,000. So I don't know if the Botanical's going to be willing to pay that to find out the information that we need to know about endangered species and drainage issues and whatnot. So that was, I wanted to throw that out. If there's anybody that has any advice about that or answers right now, that'd be awesome. I don't think you do, but it's something to consider when we chat about it tomorrow. And another thing I want to bring up, and it's not really a question, but I wanted you all to know, our organization, part of the reason that we're so endeared to the trail system at Lake Fayetteville, not so much, well, probably because we've been there for 2.5 years, and the partnership's been phenomenal with the city, the Boy Scouts, Progressive, whatnot. But we also have a program that we've initiated with the Endeavor Foundation to do a mountain bike after-school program with Fayetteville and Springdale. And we were not going to say anything about this because we're still in the infantile stages of developing that, but I feel like it's time to do it because of what's going on with the Botanical Garden. And Lake Fayetteville was going to be our primary place to do the after-school program. I've already talked to Kevin and Ani at the Science Center, and they're all in favor of it. I've talked to the Fayetteville School Board. I haven't talked to Springdale School Board yet, but we are going to put in a grant this summer, try to get 50 bikes, and have an after-school program once a week with volunteers leading rides and leading workshops on how to work on bikes, how to get familiar with mountain biking. The trail's perfect for beginner riders. That's the way we made it. That was part of the issue with the city, was to make it beginner friendly and easy for people to learn how to mountain bike. But now that we have an issue with the soft surface trail, it's really taken the wind out of our sails as far as that program. We're still going to proceed on with it. And like I said, it's in the infantile stages. We had a meeting about it this morning. It looks like a really great thing. The Walton Foundation bought 500 bikes for Bentonville school systems. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. We just want to do our part as a community volunteer organization and get a few bikes. We can't buy 500, but we feel like we could get a grant to get 50 or so, and then have the different school systems, Springdale and Fayetteville, alternate weeks or every other bi-weekly, and come in and have a volunteer or two there from our organization to help them learn how to mountain bike. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because of the soft surface issue at the Botanical Gardens. That's going to be part of our ammunition to keep that system intact, you know, besides the 2.5 years of work we did there. But if anybody has any questions about that, you can go on our website and contact me or Phil Penny, our president, and we'll be glad to talk about it. We'll come and meet with you guys. I think it's a great program that Bentonville started, and we're not really using them as a benchmark, but we are using the bike shops that they got involved with, and the fact that they are using PTA and some of the coaches to get involved in learning about bikes, and then kind of helping with the volunteer aspect that we would give. So there wouldn't be any money or any cost at all to the city whatsoever. It would just be promoting mountain biking. We would be using the soft surface trail at Lake Fayetteville. And Kevin and Oni agreed to store the bikes if we provide them with a building, which that would be part of the grant proposal, which is in the grant proposal. A storage building, we just get one from Lowe's or Home Depot or something, to store the bikes and equipment and tools there. So that's all I really had. I know that we're going to come up with an agreement. I feel really good about it. But you know, the boardwalk and the bridges we'd have to build for the reroute that they're proposing through their master plan is really going to be very expensive. I don't know how we can pull it off. We do have a really...
Steve, you said you got some estimates. What were the... You listed them, but what's like the total?
Probably minimum total would be about $125,000 to do 3 bridges and about 400 or 500 feet of boardwalk, give or take, to keep it up off the wetland area. And then the soft surface stuff past that would be just volunteer work, cutting it out, so it wouldn't be bad. We did GPS a section. If we use the existing trail that goes right beyond the Botanical Garden and doesn't include the wetland, which is west of there, where you go back into the tree section from the field, we GPS a section that would just go a little bit north between the existing trail and the paved system that just got finished. There's a nice area there. It used to have a little loop in there that we could climb up just a little bit of elevation and get off the wetland and go in. It's only about, probably from there, maybe 3 or 4 tenths of a mile. If we can come up with that solution, we can do that as a volunteer organization and knock it out in a couple weekends and be done with it and work like we had one with you guys, with Byron and his crew over there. That's what we're hoping for, but if the Botanical Garden is insistent on moving it over closer to the water to not disturb their master plan, then it's going to be really expensive. And you know, we as an organization have spent a lot of time in the last 3 weeks working on this because we want to go tomorrow and we want to know what we're talking about, and so we consulted with Trail Design and ESI and Bentonville about the environmental study, and that's the numbers we got. They're not definite.
Sure.
There wasn't enough time to do a definite analysis, but that's the numbers we came up with. So
when you say we GPS the route, not you mean we as in?
We as in those Ozark Upward cyclists.
Okay.
Our trail builders and
so
our
you
engineers.
you haven't shown that to.
No, we're going to show it to him tomorrow.
Okay.
I've got it right here. Okay. So yeah, we haven't shown it to him yet. And like I said, we're going to come with common ground. I really feel it. I feel really good about it. But I wanted you all to know what was going on in our organization behind the scenes, especially with the community after-school program. That's something that we feel like as an organization but we want to enhance organization by doing that. You know, we want to build trail and we want to ride, but we also want to get more involved in the community. And that's why Lake Fayetteville Trail System has been so endeared to us, because we've been working on this grant for the after-school program for a while, but we didn't want to come out with it. We wanted to come out with it when it was done, but it's not done. You see my point is?
Mm-hmm.
But I want you all to know that, because it's important that the soft surface trail stays open. For that reason alone. You know?
What's the total miles of soft surface trail?
The total miles right now is 7.1 of soft surface trail. If you do the shorter route that Progressive cut in some little shorter loops on the drainages, it's like 6.6 or something. Is that about right, Byron? Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had like 6.9 total.
Yeah.
So what's this section? How long is the section that?
0.6 of a mile.
0.6 of a mile.
It goes from behind the Botanical Garden, right when you cross over the paved system, to just maybe 0.3 of a mile into the wooded section.
Okay.
So half of it's basically a field and half of it's wooded. And it's a section that needs to be redone anyways because it's horrible, and we've talked about it. I know Byron knows about it. We even thought about bringing some gravel in there, but since the Botanicals changed their master plan, we just put it on hold and are waiting for that decision to be made on what's going to happen. So yeah, it's the whole total project would be 0.6, and the lesser expensive part of it would be free, and the other wetland area would be very expensive. So just wanted you guys to be aware of that when we talk with them tomorrow, and in the weeks to come. I'm sure there'll be more dialogue with them. That's where we're at. So thanks for listening to me. Any other questions about it?
Connie, do you happen to know, you may or may not have it with you, what we have available to spend in that quadrant currently in this year or next year?
Oh, in the Northeast, it's very little. There hasn't been a lot of development going on.
That's what I was wondering is.
So it's very little,
Okay.
if any, hardly.
Okay.
Well, and to be honest, the city just paid for some boardwalk stuff for the Boy Scouts, which was awesome. We didn't expect that. And we didn't know that the BTO was going to have a master plan when we started this program 3 years ago. So it's just kind of happened. It's unfolding. We can deal with it as citizens and as community volunteers and as the Parks Board and the city, obviously. But I just want everyone to understand what's going on here. It's not an easy solution. We could sit here and say, well, why don't you just come up on the pavement and go around the Botanical? But we thought about that too. And if you put all the traffic on the pavement, right there where there's an intersection coming off 265, I think it would be rather dangerous because you'd have bikers, hikers, strollers, runners, all on like a quarter-mile section of pavement where people are driving in with cars. So from a city's aspect, I don't think that would be safe. And I did talk to Walt about it and Ron, and they agree with me. It's not safe. I guess my part about the paying for the boardwalk and stuff, if the Botanicals master plan entails a walkway to the water, maybe we could even do a boardwalk over it, or we need to work this out, but keeping the soft surface trail open is not going to be that big of a deal for us. We'll do whatever, but we don't have $100,000. The city doesn't have $100,000. The Botanical doesn't have $100,000. So if we can come to an agreement, the ORC will gladly do the work for free, like we have, and work with the city and get worked out. So if and tomorrow I'm going to bring up the master plan. If they have some walkways going down to the water for their environmental studies or for their kids programs, maybe we could do a tunnel or something. It's definitely workable. So that's hopefully what we'll talk about tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Super. Thank you for coming. Anybody else in the audience any comments? Aubrey, I saw you snuck in. Anything? Getting ready to close her down here in a minute.
Okay, yes, sir. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Aubrey Shepherd, and I too value salt truck and wildflower school right here next to you, and birds, all that. So, though there are many reasons many people want to go through there, and wildflower photography and butterfly photography. We've got whole sets of pictures on Facebook of people doing that. Hundreds of photos posted some days in the growing season.
Thank you. Connie, anything else on other business?
I headed out Parkapalooza,
Oh,
just to
yeah.
get it on your calendars for May the 18th. Saturday, the events start at 9 o'clock. We have everything from kayaking, learning to play disc golf, to sand volleyball. And then we're gonna have the trail opening at 11 o'clock. Oh, I've got the Butterfly House tours at the Botanical Gardens, and then the sunboxes, the floating wetlands will be there at the opening of that will be at the dam site, the Fayetteville dam site. 11 o'clock will be the grand opening of the hard and soft surface trails. So please come join us. We have a lot of raffles. We've got a lot of businesses coming in. We've got, I don't know how long, but 10 or so that are coming in, and they're going to have raffles for prizes and all. So we hope to make it a fun event. This is from the National Park Trust. It's National Kids to Park Day, and we hope to have the best event in the United States. So come join us May 18th. The other thing is, as you all know, we're -1 park board member, and they are taking applications. The city clerk's office from May the 6th through the 31st, and I'll be sending you out information on that just to remind you if you all want to help recruit someone. The city council will go through their interview section with them, and then they'll be back on then in June.
Okay.
Start of June.
Well, I will add to the Parkapalooza. I'll tell you guys, I've had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks to ride both the new soft surface trail and the hard surface trail. So kudos to you guys, Steve, for all the work you've done. It's been a long time since I've been on the trail, and it's fantastic. And then for I don't know whether it's you guys or Transportation Division that did the rest of the paved trail, but phenomenal job on that. If you guys have not been out there, you got to go out and see it. And then if you haven't seen the floating wetland, it's transforming day by day. It's looking really good. They should have it done here shortly. So that's my plug for Lake Fayetteville. Things are looking good out there, and the volleyball court looks good too. When are you guys gonna have that done?
That, actually, the club's building that.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
It looks really
Yesterday.
good. Yesterday, yeah.
I think the weather's kind of
Held them up.
held them up, as it has a lot of our projects. So.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Okay. I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
Sounds good.